All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Robinhood Weekly. This is episode number 3. We are here live on December 23rd, right before Christmas Eve. We got a special guest with us today. We got Dougie Dallas from the chat. A lot of you guys have probably seen him in a variety of chats on YouTube. And we're going to be talking to him about how he found Robinhood at $7-8 and made some money off it. Doug, what's up?
Not much, man. Looking forward to this little episode tonight. First time
Tanner,
the weekly, so should be fun.
Yeah, you're our first guest, so it's exciting. Tanner, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Found out that the Robinhood Weekly has worked its way up the Robinhood corporate ladder, and even Vlad watches. So I'm happy. The show's a success. It seems to be doing better than the SoFi Weekly. So.
Episode 3 already a hit. Okay, good job, guys.
I don't know if we know Vlad watches. We know he knows about the pod. I don't know if he watches it.
That's fair. But he gets the bullet points. Maybe
he gets the bullet points. Hopefully, yes. They are.
They're going to try to push out some product for us.
Yeah, we can confirm that we have a source that has informed us Robinhood is very well aware of the Hood Weekly. And they're excited about it. And Vlad made a joke to our source that they're going to have to put out a product every week now for us to analyze. So
that would be awesome. That'd be a lot of
innovation
fun.
Rolling.
They did this week. We got some news.
We got some news to discuss. All right, so we're going to get started with Doug's story on Hood, because I want to get deep into kind of his thesis, how he thinks about the company. He's still buying the stock right here, so we want to go into that. We do have a bunch of news segments that we're going to be talking about later on the show as well. We'll get Doug's take on that today. I also want to give a shout out to one of our viewers who is watching right now from what seems like a hot tub. Shout out to Jess in AK. They just posted, okay, Amit, I'm ready for the weekly Hood update. So hopefully they get to enjoy some steaming conversation around Robinhood as they are steaming in a hot tub. And Jess, actually, she's been buying Hood since, I think, $10 since early this year. She bought another $200,000 of Hood this morning at $38. So got a little bit of a whale.
That's going in heavy there.
A little bit of a whale when it comes to Hood. All right, so shout out to Jess. Doug, let's start with you. When did you start buying Robinhood? Why did you buy Robinhood? And how did you make 2,000% on your money with Robinhood?
Well, the easy way to make 2,000% on your money in anything is to buy call options. And you buy those call options when everyone thinks that a company is trash and you see something that everyone else doesn't. I had used Robinhood in the past, but after the GameStop thing, I was super skeptical of the company. And so that had to kind of percolate and calm down. And I was still watching them. Like, I still had an account. And I was just watching what they were doing. And, with crypto down and with, the mania down because we had just come out of a bear market, everybody was, still really giving them a lot of crap. And just watching what they're doing, just understanding that they have the best UI and it's not even close. They have lightning quick response time and it's not even close. And then comparing the experience I would have on Robinhood with the experience I had at my other brokers. At the time I had Vanguard and I had just actually made a lot of money on SoFi options.
You actually took profits in 2023 on
yeah.
SoFi, like I didn't.
23. Yep. And was, looking for another investment. And it was just like, and I had signed up for SoFi and I was so excited to have everything all in one place. And I'm not telling you guys anything you don't know. I'm still invested in SoFi. I still think they're going to be a very, very good company, but their app was at the time just trash. It took forever to log in. And I would just compare that to Robinhood and just say, there is no way that the Henrys of the world are going to deal with this SoFi stuff when they can get the experience that they have on Robinhood. And then there's a whole group of people coming up who didn't go through that experience in GameStop, and they weren't part of it because they weren't old enough, or they didn't care about it, and they don't know anything about it at the time, outside of maybe a movie, which is ambiguous at best. So, let's see this. Let's see where this goes. And then you start seeing people who I really respect say, hey, there's something here. Shout out to Arnie. When Arnie tweets something, especially if it's something that is crazy unpopular, your antenna need to go up. And so then it's like, okay, what is he saying? So you see what his thesis is, and then I'm like, okay, well, I've got to start digging in, and I'm seeing the same things, bullet points that I'm jumping at that are like jumping off the page at me. Then I'm hearing Amit say the same thing on his morning. I don't remember if it was still Finance Junkies at the time, or if you were doing Morning Open by then. It might have been a little bit of both.
Yeah, a little bit of both. Yeah.
But I was hearing you saying the same things, and what finally did it is talk with my wife, and it was just like, look, Robinhood has the best software. They have it on the phone, which is the device of the future. Their main competitor in the space is Webull, and they're Chinese. I don't want to touch that, and you can't trade them anyway. But if I could move it, and I told my wife, if I could move everything over to Robinhood today, I would. I still haven't, because I can't, because the type of account I have, Robinhood doesn't support. So Vlad, if you're watching, bro, got to get on those.
Which is an IRA, right?
Which is an inherited IRA. So I was just dealing with a broker I didn't like. Their execution was garbage. Fidelity's, I've moved there. Fidelity's better than Vanguard. Vanguard's interface is just hot garbage. And then Vanguard also said no to the Bitcoin ETFs. Yeah. And so I was like, oh, well, you guys obviously don't want me as a customer. I'm out. And so it was just looking around at what the world is and saying the future is Robinhood. The people that have the best product, they have the best UI. I wasn't sure that it was a moat, and I'm honestly still not, except that no one is copying it. And I don't know why. I mean, Vlad said on your podcast, they can copy it, right? People can copy it. They haven't yet. And the execution is there. And I really appreciate, I guess, the knowledge and everything that went into that execution speed. Now I'm a little wary of it, having read Flash Boys, which I was trying to buy for you last year. I'm at the audiobook version, the Michael Lewis book, Flash Boys. If you haven't read it yet, it's a good read. It's finance stuff. It's up your alley. You'll like it. And it's about high frequency traders, which Hood is not, but this was still payment for order flow. But it came down to the fact, look, they have the best product, and they have all this cash. And you can't tell me that I think at the time it was like they had like $5 billion in cash, and the enterprise value was something like, or the total market cap was like $7 billion, something ridiculous, like at the time.
Yeah, the company was worth $2 billion essentially.
Yeah, the enterprise value was worth $2 billion, and I was like, no, the UI alone is worth 10 times that. And you would not have been surprised at all if JP Morgan had said, yeah, we're just going to acquire Robinhood and take their UI.
Yeah.
Right. And their execution algorithm and matching engine and all, everything under the hood, literally, pardon the pun. So you just start seeing all those things come together, and you realize everyone is still crapping on this stock, and it cannot get a bid. And the options premiums were stupid low.
They were cheap.
For 18-month leaps, like the maximum distance leaps, the maximum strike price. I think it was 20, I think, at the time. It was the highest strike price. So I just went in as big of a trade as I've ever put on, which now in retrospect, I should have gone in 10 times heavier. But
So hold on. Did you
but I'm still not used to handling the size of the account that I handle. So trade sizes.
Did your wife, did you have to have a conversation before buying the call options with your wife?
Absolutely. I'm not going to commit, 5 digits worth of our future together without having a conversation.
What did she say when you gave the idea?
She's like, sounds like it makes sense to me. Go ahead and do it. It's not a real high bar. I am fortunate to have a wonderful wife who listens to me when I have to. Actually, it's a bit of a problem. When I give her advice, she takes it. She actually has a thing where if I give her advice, she says, okay, you said I should do this. I'm going to do it. So you're talking about
you get blamed.
You're a woman lesson. Yeah. And so if it doesn't work out, guess whose fault it is? Yeah. So and
that's what I do. That's what I do when Tanner gives me a stock. I'm like, all right, Tanner, I'm buying it. If New Bank goes down, it's on you, brother. It's not on me. This is your fault.
Yeah, I want to talk to you about that sometime, Tanner. This isn't the format for that, but anyway, so that's my story. So I held those options through last year, and we just started having so much volatility. I couldn't stomach the swings anymore, so I had to exit the options and went into shares. And I've been accumulating shares. I've put a couple of options back on in smaller amounts, both in tax advantaged and taxable accounts, because I still think we have lots of upside. But my personal risk is that I cannot live with 30% of my account being one call option at one strike price in one company.
Okay, Tanner, what is your take on Doug's story with getting into Hood?
I think that it's extremely ambitious. Obviously the right call now. I didn't see it at the time, however. Like, I remember Arnie's original post on X and reading it and not getting it. I saw the cash balance and I thought, well, what's a cash balance if you're not going to do anything with it? I got really scared. So I didn't actually end up getting into Hood till $16 or really $17, but bought down. But this is the benefits of getting in a little bit earlier, and trusting your gut in this opinion, and obviously having hands-on with the product and knowing the differences versus the other ones. And I don't know, very smart move, but I was a little bit more conservative and obviously not a 20x, more like a little over a 2x on Hood. But yeah.
Well, you can be conservative. You don't have to put, you don't have to buy. And I don't know what a lot of money is for you, Tanner, but let's just say that you have $100,000 account. You don't have to buy $20,000 worth of options. You can buy 1,000, right? Like if someone has a good thesis, you can dip your toe in. Now that may not be your investing style, but sometimes it is mine, especially for things where you just kind of have that firsthand knowledge, almost like what's the guy's name? Not a Peter Lynch type thing, right? Just like, okay, my experience tells me that this company is going to be a winner. I may not understand this yet, but somebody who's a lot smarter than me makes a very compelling case. And
did they expire in 2026 or 2025? Your options?
They were 25s.
Okay.
Yeah, they were January 2025 expirations.
What I think is so interesting about your story is that you are obviously a bit older than Tanner and I, and you've been using traditional brokerage platforms your whole life. But Robinhood, this junky little $7 billion company, caught your attention, and you saw the transition to Tanner and I's generation. So my next question for you is, what is your perspective on the concept of wealth transfer? And is that the reason you're still buying Robinhood stock today?
It is one of the huge reasons I'm still buying today. I believe that they are going to have their execution on point when this giant transfer of wealth from the boomers to the next generation happens. The clock is running out, though. So they have a lot of irons in the fire, and this is not one that I hear them talking about. But it will be the largest, I believe, method of transfer of that wealth. And that will be essentially everybody's, or almost everybody's, parents having a 401k or an IRA will all get rolled into an IRA. That IRA is then inherited as tax advantaged. Tanner, this is a U.S. thing, so I don't know if Canada has something similar.
Well, Canada pays 99.9% taxes. They don't really understand what it means to hold any of their money in their pockets. So,
So the inherited IRA is not taxed, but you have 10 years to liquidate it. You used to have required minimum distributions based on a percentage of the overall total. That rule changed. So now you just have 10 years to empty it. So it can grow tax advantage like an IRA, but when you take a distribution, it's taxed as regular income. There are a handful of brokers who handle that account. Robinhood does not. And that is so essentially, so if I wanted to transfer, the funds out of that account, I would have to take it all as taxable income first. I'd have to pay taxes on all of it, and then I could have it in the, and that's just crazy. Nobody's going to do that, right? Nobody with a financial advisor.
Right.
So, yeah, Hood has to get on offering that account type. And I asked when I transferred, because I moved all the rest of my accounts over, my taxable, my personal Roth, my rollover IRAs from previous jobs. So,
and what percentage does this inherited IRA make up for your net worth?
About half.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. That's a serious account. Then they need to get on that. I mean, you might be in a different situation than other clients, but still, like, access to all the different account formats is definitely one that they should be hard pressed on.
And I'm sure they're working on it too. They just have so much stuff that they're trying to,
Yeah, it's not like they're standing still, right? Like there's so many things with such large total addressable markets that they're all, climbing towards. But
so the thesis, though, of we are going to be there to capture the large part of the TAM of the wealth transfer. If you do not have the vehicle available, it will not happen. And look, I'm the oldest of all my siblings. I may be a little on the old side for Robinhood, but my siblings are not. Okay, they're right in the wheelhouse, and they don't have Robinhood accounts either because it's not offered.
Right. It's fair. It's a fair point. Okay, to wrap this segment up, and then we'll get into some news. Outside of wealth transfer, I mean, you've been buying shares in the high 30s. Some people are calling Hood shareholders crazy for buying at these levels. I think it's still pretty damn cheap. Why do you think Robinhood?
No, it's still cheap.
Okay, why?
They still have two. Let's call it three primary things. Okay, first of all, they still have way too much cash compared to the enterprise value. They are still cash rich, and they are growing the cash flow. I am not 54. Thanks, Marcus. So they have cash. They have a pile of cash they're sitting on, and they're growing it. They are executing on bringing new products to market all the time, and they are products that people ask for. So they are listening to their customers, trying to bring. I mean, look, sorry, Vlad, if you're watching, I don't love Legends. I don't use it. I was excited when I saw the demo. I have access, but I don't use it. There's better, in my opinion, interfaces out there. Hopefully you've got traction with some other people, but it's not me. I am looking forward to it improving because I think you will work on it like Elon works on FSD. And then 3 is Robinhood is backed by the big boys. Like they are not going to let this sucker go down.
Yeah, people don't realize they have 85% institutional holdings.
Right. I mean,
this has not been a retail story, to be honest. It hasn't been.
Right. It's like BlackRock is not going to let Bitcoin go down now, right? Like they're bought in. It's done. Bitcoin is the thing. It's like how the Chris Patel flipped his thesis. He's like, look, the big boys are in now. It's not going to fail. They won't let it. Yeah. So Robinhood is not going to go bankrupt. The toots are too invested. Like, man, I feel like I find out that somebody was an early Robinhood investor all the time. And I'm like, that person's kind of a legendary investor. I found out David Sachs was an early investor.
Oh, yeah, he was. Yeah.
He got his gold card early, which I still don't have, by the way. Still waiting on that. I know some other Texans who have theirs. So if it's geography, I'm still waiting.
I think that's a solid thesis. I think it makes sense. I think it's still cheap. Tanner, anything to add to his thoughts?
No, I think, you know what? I think the part that you said about missing the wealth transfer, I think that it'll be longer than people think. I think this is a multi-decade shift rather than a multi-year shift. But there are some like even the desktop version, Legends, working on Legends and trying to make that better. That doubles their total addressable market. So, like you said, it's not great right now, but hopefully one day they'll capture your attention. There could just be a list of priorities for them based on TAM or based on low-hanging fruit, and potentially the opportunity for inherited IRAs might be a little bit harder or maybe not as large.
Well, it just seems regulatory, right? Like there's hoops they have to jump through, probably. It seems like legal hoops, paperwork hoops. Because why can one brokerage offer it and not another?
I don't have the answer. I don't have the answer.
I mean, I don't think it's a banking charter. I've not looked into it. That's probably a good thing to look at because it's my one kind of biggest bear point is that they don't have it yet. But look, I mean, on the other side though, they have my taxable account. So whenever I take distributions from the inherited IRA, that's when it goes in. But it's going to take 10 years for that transfer for them to take custody of those assets rather than getting it all at once.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm sure they have that on the list, like I said, but I'm hopeful that we get people like you that actually have a turning point where they say, you know what, Legends is actually nice. This is one of the better desktop interfaces, and that you also go to them for that experience as well, because that'll be very big.
There's one thing I do like on Legends. I do not trade often enough to have really used it, but from seeing in their demo, the options execution was really looked really good, where you can get your trade filled at the prices that you want without having to make a trade. Okay, it didn't fill. Cancel. And this is what you have to do in Fidelity. Oh, it didn't fill. Okay. Because look, retail traders, I do not have all day to sit there and try to get filled. Like I've got a 15-minute break, or I got up from my desk. I'm going to get a cup of coffee and I'm going to try and get this trade done today. I do not have all day to kind of fight with the market on getting my options filled. Right. So on the phone, on their default interface, it kind of gives you high likelihood, medium likelihood, low likelihood of getting filled. Right. but you can set that ladder on Legends on the desktop. So when I'm working from home and I can use my desktop, it is useful to try to get the best price of execution and to get it rapidly rather than just kind of guess what'll get filled. And Robinhood is still fastest to cancel and put in a new order. Fidelity is 3 times as long, and Vanguard was probably 10 times longer than that to try to get your options filled.
Yeah, I think the problem with Legends right now, and Mickey says it right here as well, and Tanner, you asked him about this, is that it's still a website application, not a desktop platform. I don't know if this is the biggest deal, but it's definitely one of those things that people enjoy, having a dedicated desktop app. And I think Vlad said it has something to do with the engineering for why they did it on the web application, on a website itself, but that might be something they change in the future. For me, as someone who's not an active trader yet, maybe in the future I'll have a little mini trading account. I'm a streamer and I need a good interface for streaming. And I told him at Investor Day, I was like, people don't even know what
too small.
The fonts are too small. We don't know what the ticker is. And he said it's coming. I mean, he literally said we're going to have updates to make it more friendlier for streaming, and you can see quotes and stuff like that. But that stuff needs to be up there for people like me and Tanner to want to use it more. But outside of that, I'm curious on the adoption of it. I don't think it's one of their fastest growing products yet. I could be wrong about that. But it's a very niche customer base they're trying to go after. That's not the typical Robinhood customer base. It's a massive TAM because there's a lot of active traders out there. And I think it's going to be one of those products that grows over time. And if they can get it right, then that should be another opportunity for them.
Part of the product sorry, I was just going to say part of the product is just also retaining the current current customers that are, leveling up into that next part of their journey of investing. So this might even not be for new customer acquisition. It's just keeping a tool available for the people who started on mobile that want a better charting tool as well.
Yeah, 100% agreed. Doug, you were going to say?
Actually, Sanjay brings up a great point right there. But I was going to say it's kind of a almost a prestige thing to say, hey, we have the best trading platform on the web, right?
Right.
And serious traders now use Robinhood, not just degenerate, uninformed retail, but we have a product that serious traders use, and I don't think they are at that point yet. But like Sanjay brought up a point that I always thought is, kind of going back to the old like management question of buy or build. Like, why didn't they just buy TradingView? Maybe
what would
as quickly?
What would the market cap
or
be
just get hooked into it? It can't be large.
I don't think they want to. I don't think they want to integrate into TradingView because they want to build their own proprietary thing. But I think TradingView would cost them $1 billion at least.
Yeah, or
more maybe.
I don't know. Anyway, the point is, it's super powerful, and maybe they looked into it and they couldn't get a deal done, or they couldn't get a deal done at the price that they wanted. But
that would have been.
You are kind of. You are kind of stuck with buy or build, right? Buy, build, or acquire in this case, right? We're talking about. So, they could.
Yeah, that would have been nice. I mean, I don't know if they explored that deal. They probably wanted to build it in their own way to have more flexibility, but I don't know. It's interesting. I would want to see the financials because a lot of people pay for the subscription, which is like $200-$300 a year.
Yeah, I pay for it.
I wonder how many actually pay for it. Yeah. That's something to look into.
I mean, if you think about this, if you just kept all the customers on that, think about how many new gold customers they would pick. Like they make this big deal about getting $5 a month for gold or $6 a month for gold. Think if you were getting, $200 a month for TradingView access.
It's probably something they wanted to build from the ground up, and it didn't make sense to acquire them. But it is interesting, kind of how they're planning to take on the active trader market. I think it'll get better. I mean, obviously the product is in its infancy right now. I mean, it came out less than 3 months ago. So next year will be a big year for them on that. Speaking of gold, or go ahead, Tanner. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I would put Robinhood's engineering team up against any of the other ones. So even like I see some people talking about just even without acquisition, you can integrate directly with TradingView. I know that like Mumu has done that, and Tasty Trade and these sort of ones. So, but that being said, let's give them some time. This has not been very long. I'm sure the team for Legends gets bigger by the day, and they will be very aggressive. At least that's how I foresee it happening. It'll get very good.
I agree. All right, let's transition to our first news story of the day, which is Robinhood Gold. Gold Monday last week, they rolled it out December 9th to December 16th, and the idea was we're going to give out $1 million. Robinhood has never done this before, and whoever signs up to Gold, you'll get a 25% discount. Instead of $60 a year, you'll pay $45, and we'll give you a share of the million based on the total number of people that signed up. Go ahead.
I love it.
You love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought
somebody was being snarky on X and they're like, oh, I got $8.29. I'm rich. And I'm like, well, would you prefer that your broker pay a celebrity to sell it to you? No, they're going to put the cash in your pocket. Isn't that better?
Yeah. I mean, this was a really creative marketing tactic. 120,627 members. They each got $8.29. So in Q3, Robinhood added 210,000 gold subscribers. They did 57% of that in 1 week in Q4, which means I think Q4 can be a really strong number for gold subscribers. They collected 45 prescriber, which means they made $5.4 million in revenue off these 120,000 subs. I don't know if they're going to count that $5.4 million all in Q4. There's probably some accounting stuff they can do to amortize that. But if they do, because they just think they can keep growing at this level and they're not afraid of beating those expectations quarter after quarter, that's basically spending $1 million in advertising to make $5.4 million on a finance product where the ROI is not $45 off of $8, which is a nice 5x. The ROI is going to be all of those people that join Gold that are going to put in deposits for the APY, that are going to probably start trading, that might buy a stock here and there. Like, the ROI is going to be massive off an $8 acquisition cost. And if I was them, they probably can't do this every week, but I would do this every week. If you can put in 1 and get in 5, I think it's pretty exciting. So Tanner, what were your thoughts on this? And then we'll get Doug's opinion as well.
I'll share my screen really quick. Just going back and charting through their overall cumulative accounts plus net new accounts that they have each and every quarter, which accounts for churned accounts and everything. I think I have this at the bottom somewhere. Yeah, new funded accounts, resurrected accounts, churned accounts. They track it all. Anyway, if you look at their sales and marketing expense and try to pull from that a customer acquisition cost, you're in the $100 ranges. Okay. During peak mania in early 2021, this got as low, which was essentially not record breaking, but amongst the best fintechs in the entire world. They were paying an $18.55 acquisition cost. Now, this isn't exactly a one-to-one because they can do some internal marketing, try to get people into new products, advance the average revenue per user, but still, you get the point. We're paying an $8.29 customer acquisition for gold members. For gold members, the highest average revenue per user, the customer that is most likely to bring their retirement accounts, the customers that have the ability to sign up for the gold card, the ones that want to bring over their cash because they get the highest APYs. It was an unbelievable success. If this is I don't see how the math could ever be wrong. I just wonder, 829 just seems like you just divide the 1 million out and that's how many members we got. If somehow that's wrong, I don't know, but it seems like an unbelievable strategy so far. And like you said, I don't believe it could be replicated to the same success every week, but maybe every quarter, maybe every other month. I don't know. This is very exciting.
Doug, your thoughts?
These acquisition costs still seem relatively low to me. As you know, they're just on the hood or on the gold fee alone is just 2 years. when people move in that much money, they're not moving it out again without a really, really, really good reason, especially if they were there for the 1% match or something like that, and they're trying to collect those. So I just see this as being a deal that, and look, it's a deal any of us would make too. So I'm going to give you $1 and you give me $5. Yeah, they'll do that all day long.
Yeah,
They'll do that all day long.
Like an annual customer, like the reason why companies will pay or give large discounts for annual payments is because there's an opportunity that maybe there wouldn't be churn here, or there would be some potential churn on a monthly basis or something along these lines. So annual payments are much better than monthly payments, even if they might actually accrue more over those 12 months. It's, in my opinion, especially Robinhood saying this as well, they get a lot of annual signups. So this isn't just $5 across 120,000 people. This is $45 potentially across a large percentage of these people.
So here's my question. Are they going to are they going to show 5.4 million of revenue off this? Or, because if they are, Q4 is going to be fun.
Over time, yes, but is it going to be this quarter?
Because here's my case. The way they show 5.4 million in revenue, which makes their other revenues go substantially higher than last quarter, which is good growth, but it puts the pressure on them to grow that in Q1 and beyond. They're going to have to grow subscribers even harder than what they did this quarter, right? And I think they might want to be conservative and say, okay, this thing worked right now. We put in 1, we got 5. In January, if the market takes a pullback, we might not have people easily wanting to sign up for Robinhood Gold, right? People are just a little hesitant. And we showed all this growth in Q4 Gold subscribers. In Q1, it slows down. Market doesn't like that, yada, yada. But if they live up to the challenge and they keep getting this 1 for 5, maybe, and they start putting 2 and get 10 every quarter, that just means they're going to keep having a lot of growth.
Well, I think their marketing is a little cyclical, Amit.
That's fair.
I think if when the market is ripping, I think the people they're going after are new investors. And so they can offer promotions like that. And then when the market takes a cool down, they can say, hey, you know what? You guys that are making your 3% at JP Morgan Chase or wherever you are, or Vanguard, you know what? Come on over here. We'll turn that 1% tap back on again for the high net worth folks.
Right.
So they can kind of play both ends there, and they can chase the new market entrants when there is when there's FOMO and when markets are frothy and people are just piling in. And then once they're locked in and the markets take a turn for the worse, they can go for those high net worth folks who are just not happy with their brokers because they're seeing their money go down at their broker, and they're feeling like, I can't get executions done quickly. I can't move my money where I want to as quickly as I can. They're charging me all these fees to get my money in and out. It's not a good experience, and the general user experience at Robinhood is better. Customer service still has a way to go for
they got to get people on the
high
phone.
Net worth people. They have got to get people on the phone if they want older high net worth customers. Because look, I don't have $1 million there. Hopefully next year I will, but not right now. But dude, I know people with $50 million in their Robinhood account.
I know people with $100 million literally on Robinhood.
If I've got $100 million in my Robinhood account and I've got a problem, your chatbot better call me and put me on the phone with your director of finance. I'm not.
Let's be clear though, Amit. I could venture a guess on who that is. They are not going to a chatbot.
There's multiple.
They are not going to a chatbot.
No, I agree.
They have
that, and that's my point.
They probably have a team that, like, I would venture to bet that Robinhood is building out some priority high net worth teams to service those people a more traditional way.
I think those people are on a whiteboard And if anything ever happens, you've got a team ready to go protect them. Yeah, you might be right. You might be right about that.
Because look, and the size of trades those people make, I mean, if they are having a problem getting a trade executed or something, they can cost them millions from just being delayed on execution or something like that. So yeah, like there's got to be some kind of concierge service. But like Vlad, I don't remember if it was in an investor day or if it was on your interview, Amit, where Vlad was saying that as he wants to really democratize finance, which is great and noble goal, but like I said, there's a difference. Someone with $100 million and somebody with 10,000. Now he wants those people to have the same experience, but he wants the $10,000 person to have the $100 million experience. But come on, there's got to be some play there.
What's called? I think that also we have to remember Robinhood's client that has started to come on the platform drastically changed about 5 to 6 quarters ago, which was whenever retirement accounts were brought on. This essentially took the average. I love all the exaggerated head movements whenever it's like so. And then people go, I do it too, but it's so funny.
Well, dude, no, we're trying to.
You can't see the chat, but the chat are all doing the same thing too.
Yeah.
Dude, we're trying to like underscore the point, but it's like being a bobblehead or something.
Yeah, it's like affirmation. No, I get it, but
no one does it when you're wrong or when we disagree. No one's like,
it's real still.
Yeah, then we'll be like,
yeah,
then we'll just be like,
it's all in the eyebrows at that point. But so whenever retirement accounts came out, we kind of changed the average user balances from like a couple thousand to now you're bringing in like average. I think there was what was the average balance that came on last quarter? 130,000 or something like this. It was incredibly high versus what they're used to. Like I think there's still their average balance on the overall platform is somewhere around $7,000 to $8,000, but that's because they are essentially bringing in a whole new customer base after bringing on 22 million people just for regular retail trading. So they are upgrading, but you have to think about it, how much extra essentially dry powder that brings to Robinhood to now put back into new engineering teams and try to pump out new products for them. And you're already seeing that. What do you think trade PMR is for? You think that's for the people with $400 in their account? This is for the new wave of customers that they're bringing on because they've essentially just overnight over the last 5 quarters, 10, 20x, 100x their customer, like average account size of their new customer cohorts. Very important.
Yeah, I think that's the other impressive thing. We don't know their retirement assets under custody, but I think last quarter was 12 billion. That thing's going to get to 20 billion next year. Like, especially as the Roth IRAs just opened up. So I think that's going to be a long-term part of their growth strategy as well. And someone like Jess that I shared her tweet in the beginning of the show. I mean, she showed she has $1 million of NVIDIA publicly on Robinhood. And that's just, that's one part of her portfolio, right? So like she's trusting Hood with that $1 million of NVIDIA. And as long as they keep living up to it and give her the right tools to make her feel safe, she's going to probably put more money into Robinhood as well.
Yeah. No, it is crazy the change in the average customer, and then even whenever Bitstamp comes in, starting to build for institutional clients is going to give them not only a lot more credibility, but also a lot more experience. No one ever talks about these companies as aging the same way people do with like new experience. One thing that I find with these new companies, like Robinhood was founded in 2013. Okay. Their ability to go out and market to new clients, most times in these aging companies, they get better over time as they realize what actually resonates with their, like product market fit. So potentially just giving money back in terms of $1 million extra to get gold customers is a way more effective use for their type of client than going to influencers or doing referral programs or doing these things because, well, it's finance. You just want to stack cash. And so why not just give it right back to the customer base rather than some creator or referral program?
Dude, I wish they could do $1 million a week, but the problem is the promotion would not be a real promotion because you need a sense of urgency and stuff to get people into it. but they could definitely afford to do. They were spending $100 million on marketing. They could definitely afford to do $9 million a quarter, 9 weeks or 12 weeks, whatever. But yeah, they're gonna have to be
Contra revenue, just but I think Doug has a great point. You just shift it depending on the type of market that we're in to go after potentially longer retirement accounts or high net worth or potentially smaller retail investors that are trying to take advantage of this type of market. It's interesting.
Yeah, I would agree. Let's get to the next piece of news, which is Mr. Vlad Tenev did his 18,000th podcast of the year because this guy understands the new media. And he was asked about putting Bitcoin on the balance sheet. Here's what he had to say about that idea.
Another thing that has become very popular, you're a publicly traded company, you see other publicly traded companies buying Bitcoin and putting it on their balance sheet. Some people are doing it at grand scale, like the MicroStrategies, and they're buying, tens of billions of dollars, and it's kind of become like a Bitcoin treasury company. You have many other companies like a Tesla or Block, formerly known as Square. They bought some Bitcoin. They kind of left it there. They're not really Bitcoin companies. You guys are in the crypto business. Have you guys ever thought about adding Bitcoin, or has there been any conversation as to why you should, or maybe there's a good argument as to why you should not put Bitcoin on the balance sheet?
Yeah, I mean, it comes up from time to time for sure. One of the reasons it comes up is because we just are getting more involved in crypto, and in some cases that would involve us holding different coins, and already we have to do the work of accounting for it, and it's essentially on the balance sheet anyway. So there's a real reason of if you have to transact in cryptos, you have to maintain some holdings of them, and they're kind of there by necessity. Then there's the other angle of sort of showing a sign of support that we're a crypto company, we're here, we buy into the technology and the promise of it being an inflation hedge. So it's kind of there as well. I think the reasons to not do it is, if you are a public market investor and you're thinking about Robinhood as a company, generally speaking, you're not it complicates the picture to think of it as a company, but also this quasi Bitcoin holding play. And I think Robinhood stock is already highly correlated with Bitcoin as such, without us even holding it on the treasury. So, I would say we wouldn't rule it out. We haven't done it thus far, but those are kind of the considerations that we have. And to some degree, you could put any asset on your balance sheet. And we're not in the business of being an investment manager. So, I know some companies have done this. Airbnb, actually, I think if I remember, made a lot of money doing this with their CFO LT pre-IPO, just managing the cash on the balance sheet and investing it. But that always seemed like a departure from the core of the business, taking that approach.
This is free advice, so you're going to get the quality of what you pay for. But I always thought it'd be hilarious if somebody bought a little Bitcoin and also put a Berkshire stock on their balance sheet. Said, "Hey, we're gonna, we're gonna have one of the new world, one of the old world."
Thoughts on that answer, Doug? We'll start with you.
I think he's got a good concept. I'm not overly enamored with the concept of Robinhood also being the quote unquote Bitcoin treasury. They're already a Bitcoin proxy. They're already a crypto proxy. So they already have that risk baked in the cake. Do we really want them to take on more crypto risk as a shareholder? I'm not thrilled about it. Plus, they're actually doing things with their cash. They're making new products. They're trying to deliver on serving their customers better and acquiring new customers. They're not just sitting on their pile of cash, like a Microsoft might be, or an Apple, where they just are Scrooge McDucking it inside a giant vault every day, and that cash doesn't do anything other than earn. But anyway, that's my thought. Is it's just a risk that they don't need. So if he decides to, great. If he decides not to, I'm totally fine with it. It's not what I feel
Tanner,
one way or another about.
Yeah, I really liked his answer. It sounded like maybe you guys took something out of it differently than I did, but he's literally talking to Pomp. So I think he's leaning more towards no than yes.
100%.
And I agree with that. I mean, I'm buying an equity. If I wanted Bitcoin, I'd buy Bitcoin. I do hold Bitcoin. It's not like I'm anti-Bitcoin, but I think that they have enough exposure by offering the choice to their investors. I like what they've done with their cash. They're reinvesting in the business. Keep doing that. More X1s, more trade PMRs, more bit stamps. We're building businesses. Yeah. We're not looking to be an investment firm.
I don't want them to put Bitcoin on the balance sheet.
Yeah,
I really don't. They're already tied to Bitcoin. They custody, I think, like 130,000 Bitcoin already. So, like, if Bitcoin goes up, their assets under custody go up, but they don't have to wait, like, which is great because they get a yield off that AUC, but they don't have to actually deal with the value of their reserves going down or up in the most volatile of ways, because Bitcoin obviously is incredibly volatile. So I don't think they need to do it. I think it was really obvious with Vlad in that interview saying they're probably not leaning towards doing it. I think their CFO, Jason Warnick, is one of the smartest CFOs that I've like studied and researched. And I think he comes from Amazon. I don't think he's doing this shit. He's
Eric brings up a good point. You kind of just devalue the earnings that you are bringing in, because you are essentially telling your investors like, hey, not only can we make a lot extra, but now you're going to have this weight on you to say, hey, these earnings might not be sustainable.
Yes.
Right. Like, so it might even
Stupid.
devalue the multiple that people will put on because they even think it's more fragile than what it potentially could be.
Also, you might have people going short Robinhood as a proxy trade to going long Bitcoin. We've seen this happen with the miners, which have been the worst investment of 2024. And it's just not been a good strategy. And so John says, but you want them to have sports betting. I don't care if they do, but sports betting would just be a creative way for them to have more revenue. Bitcoin on the balance sheet is a liability.
Yeah. Yes, I'd like them to have sports betting as an option for users. I don't want them to use their treasury to do sports betting.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want them to bet on the games. I want them to allow their customers to bet on the games.
Yeah, no, there's also like Microsoft spending like 0.01% of their 100 billion or whatever cash on Bitcoin is different. They're a mature company. If they lose that money, quite frankly, it's not going to matter, but it's just a little bit more of something to spice things up in the stock. Robinhood is a growing company that is 30 billion. I mean, they're nothing yet, right? They've got a really...
And they're already enormously exposed to downturns in Bitcoin. We saw that today. I mean, didn't we see this last year when the stock was going up, when the stock was starting to pump? And by pump, for everybody that knows what I'm talking about here, I mean going from like 9 to 10. And then Bitcoin would have a bad day and this sucker would go down $2. And we're like, why is this thing so one-to-one with Bitcoin?
Yeah,
is. They are differentiating. They are doing new things. They are offering these matches. They are bringing in retirement accounts. This thing should not be trading along with Bitcoin, and yet it continued to. Now, we have seen a few times now in 2024 where it traded the opposite of Bitcoin, and I thought that has been very, very healthy and shows that the company is doing new things and that some traders are mentally disassociating the two. It's like, yes, they're buying Bitstamp, right? They're buying plays that give them exposure to crypto because they want their customers to be able to work in that world and access that world, but they don't need the risk of holding it.
Yeah. And they will have a lot of exposure to crypto after Bitstamp finalizes. There'll be a custodian. They'll have institutional revenues.
Yeah. Also, Bitcoin is stupid.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
Like, no, it's fucking stupid. It's the dumbest thing ever. It goes up and we're excited about it. But when it goes down, everyone runs for the hills. Let's just be honest about it. Let's be honest about it. Bitcoin is stupid. It has no value. The only reason people are buying it is because it goes up. I've been pretty consistent about this for years. I'm on the Bitcoin train because it's going up, but when it goes down, I'm not like, fuck Bitcoin. Who cares about Bitcoin? Do I want one of my like top 2 holdings in my portfolio, Robin and Palantir, one of them to be, I mean, even Palantir has $6 billion in cash. I don't want them to buy Bitcoin. Why would I want Palantir to have that volatility, right? I think when the inevitable down cycle comes, which it will come, why should they be exposed to that risk when they're already so exposed?
I want everyone to know I'm on this panel.
It depends on what else is happening at the time, right? Because look, we know that Bitcoin is, maybe not yet, because it is still very much a risk on access asset, and it is traded as such by this generation. In 2100, it's going to be a lot more stable than it is now.
Yeah, but for now it's stupid. We all know it's stupid.
But for now, it's got a way more volatility.
AKA stupid.
There's no one can argue that.
It is stupid. The whole concept
And
of
they
it
don't
is
need that risk.
ridiculous. Correct.
Do you want to speak on this for a second?
No, Bitcoin is dumb, bro. We all know Bitcoin's dumb. Like Bitcoin's stupid.
What's your opinion on gold?
Don't say we all.
Well, you guys believe it. You're just not saying it. All of you guys believe Bitcoin is stupid because as
What's
soon as
your
Bitcoin,
opinion on gold?
No. Look at the best Bitcoin winners you know. When were they excited about it? Were they running for the hills whenever?
I'm not making that argument.
No. That's when they were buying.
I'm just saying the reason I'm saying Bitcoin is stupid is because it will go up and down for no reason. And I don't want one of my top holdings to be exposed to that volatility. Like, think about the people who bought MicroStrategy at 540. They're really upset right now. And they're trying to tell themselves that they're long-term shareholders. Or Clean Spark. Were they dumb or was Bitcoin dumb?
They were dumb.
Well, why
they didn't buy
no.
Bitcoin? They bought someone who was leveraging loans to buy Bitcoin. So the best thesis you can make. Go ahead.
You can't say they're dumb if they're buying exposure to Bitcoin. That by proxy, you have to admit by the transitive property that Bitcoin is dumb if they're buying something that's only leveraged.
They bought all the downside of Bitcoin without the upside of it.
What do you mean? If Bitcoin goes up, they're buying exposure to Bitcoin.
You bought Bitcoin that can go down because you get diluted, which as a Bitcoin holder, you don't get diluted. But Michael Saylor can dilute you whenever he wants.
No, but the point is Michael Saylor is diluting you to buy more Bitcoin. If you're buying into MicroStrategy, you believe in Bitcoin.
I understand that, but I do not. I understand the best. I can make you the best case, I think, for owning MicroStrategy, and I don't believe it and want it. The best case you can say is the shares that I buy in MicroStrategy today represent Saylor's future acquisitions of Bitcoin. Now he's going to dilute, but is he going to dilute at the same rate that my shares appreciate as Bitcoin goes up? But we know it's going to turn down. We know it's going to cycle down.
Well, that's my point.
So,
but if you bought MicroStrategy or CleanSpark or any of these proxies attached to Bitcoin, Coinbase, whatever, you believe.
I'm hurting on that today. I told you.
You believe in the concept of Bitcoin. And when Bitcoin goes down, your proxy goes down, which means you're not dumb for buying those names. You weren't dumb for buying CleanSpark. You felt Bitcoin would go up. Okay, you might say you were
dumb for buying it.
But I would say the concept of it was stupid enough to get you duped into it, and then you brought a proxy attached to it that the concept went down. It didn't go up as much as it needed to make the proxy get better, and therefore now you're holding the bag on the proxy.
And everyone who's buying MicroStrategy and everyone who bought Mara, they're all trying to get more leverage because somehow Bitcoin going from 10,000xing in a decade is not enough gains for people. I mean, like, they're trying to get rich in 1 year, so they're piling on the leverage. That's what happened to me. That's why I had to take my medicine today and get out.
But this is my point.
It's the leverage that sucked. It's not the Bitcoin.
So I'm curious on Tanner's perspective on this. I think all of us would not like Robinhood buying Bitcoin on the balance sheet, which means all of us are agreeing Bitcoin is stupid to buy on the balance sheet.
For Robinhood, yeah.
I 100% agree with you on I don't want a really young company to buy Bitcoin. I think I'm with you on the idea that a large company, especially a global company that has risks to different currency holdings, might be good to buy a constant, potentially inflation protection that might sit inside of Bitcoin. The problem with that is that it's still volatile, but as Bitcoin's still extremely young. we're not going nearly through the phases of swings that, you know, Bitcoin used to whenever it was 10 years ago. Like it would do 95% swings like it was nobody's business. So now we're starting to lower that percentage. And I think that that's going to continue going forward. The idea that Bitcoin's stupid because it's based on nothing can also be said about a lot of other things that people put tens of trillions of dollars into, like gold. Everyone says, oh, well, gold is put into electronics and everything. Well, it wasn't 100 years ago. Like this is a brand new phenomenon that gold is being used in electronics. It was known as the standard way before that, whenever it was based on nothing other than the fact that it was non-perishable. And Bitcoin's non-perishable. It's not going anywhere.
I'm not arguing for Bitcoin not having any value. Obviously, I'm a fan of Bitcoin.
Well, he says
I like
stupid.
it. But no, but it's still stupid, dude. Like the volatility of it to me is what makes it stupid. And when the volatility goes to the downside, we've been blessed this year. It's only been to the upside. When it goes to the downside, it's not going to be pretty. And so
I think that those swings will
for
become
small
less and less.
companies. Yeah,
You put $10 trillion in Bitcoin and it's not going to.
Well, no, 100%. I agree. Once it gets to the market cap of gold, gold's not stupid anymore because it's actually like reliable. You can reserve it. Companies actually buy it. Bitcoin's not there yet. Now, Saylor's argument is eventually it'll get there, and on the way to the path to prosperity to 20 trillion market cap, there's a lot of money to be made. I agree with that. But in the short term, for a $30 billion company, it would be incredibly stupid to have an asset like that on their balance sheet.
Yeah, I don't want that. I don't want that.
I don't look. If they told me that they were going to put $3 million of Bitcoin on the balance sheet, I'd say, okay, fine, whatever. You've got a little bit of a hedge in case the price runs away from you, and now you can, you know, you may have to pay someone in Bitcoin, or you know, someone bought something on your exchange, and you've got to fill it. So you've got a little bit just to make some ends meet if you need to. Fine, whatever. But you're not running a strategy on it.
Correct.
So, you know, if they did a couple million, fine, they can use that to pay in case they have a debt that is Bitcoin, or they have to, you know, they're trying to do business with someone, say in another country, and they want to accept Bitcoin.
Yeah. And again, look, I like Bitcoin, but I think a lot of people don't really acknowledge that they think Bitcoin's stupid, but they just don't say it's stupid. Like I've been consistent about this for years. Dude, it's just it's a hedge against money printing, but it's not like there's any value in it. And Saylor's admitted this as well.
No, but it's just a cheaper way to secure Bitcoin. No one's saying this is it. It's a defense against inflation, like you said, but it's very cheap to hold and it's very cheap to transact. Unlike gold, where it's like, okay, you have to pull it out of the ground. It's insanely heavy. Then you have to put it back in the ground and secure it with guards and defend it. And then once you need to transport it, it's insanely expensive and costs a lot of money to protect.
Yeah, but my point is people aren't paying for things with Bitcoin. I mean, there's some of that happening.
That it doesn't need. No, you don't need to pay with things with gold. It doesn't make gold invaluable.
No, but that's my point. That's my point. People are buying Bitcoin because they think it's going to go up. That's it. That's the only reason they're buying Bitcoin.
Because it's an inflation protection.
Yeah, because they think it will go up against the cost of capital, which is why they are attracted to the asset class.
You ever hear the thing about 1 ounce of gold? You ever hear the thing about 1 ounce of gold will always buy you a nice suit or a nice tunic or something like this? Have you ever heard that?
Yeah.
That like all the way back in the ages, you'd still get like nice garment with 1 ounce of gold, and that's still the same today. We're not quite at that stance with Bitcoin, but even then, people will still buy it because US dollars will be worth less going forward if inflation continues. And like Brazil is going through a whole issue right now. What if a Brazilian company that was holding Brazilian reais was holding Bitcoin instead?
You guys are acting like I'm a Bitcoin bear. I'm not a Bitcoin bear. I'm just saying people are buying it because they think it's going to go up. That's
okay,
it.
but then people are stupid. You're not saying then don't say Bitcoin's stupid.
No, because people buy a stock and the stock actually has something you can analyze to go up. There's a reason a stock goes up most of the time. Bitcoin, the only reason is someone else.
90% of retail investors buy because they think the stock is going to go up, and they don't do any analysis.
That's on them. But in general, objectively, a stock should go up.
Same principle with Bitcoin. They don't do any analysis on it. They want it to go up.
Guys, it's funny because I know people that bought Bitcoin at 39 cents and they think it's the stupidest thing in the world. Like, and they have hundreds of millions of dollars of Bitcoin, but it's stupid to them. And they acknowledge how stupid it is, and the fact that someone's willing to pay $100,000 for this fucking thing is ridiculous to them. But they're still holding on to it because they believe one day someone will pay $200,000 for it. Everyone is buying it because they think it will go up. That's it. There's no objective criteria for why it will go up. It's just it eventually over time will go up. That's fine. But that is the definition of stupid. I think we all understand that the asset class is stupid, but we're just buying it because we think it'll go up. And that's it.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to find things that have objective value. Like, we're all running in a world of fiat and other people wanting to pay more. Like, I don't know. Eventually, you have to put your belief into something. I think that if you just look at it like gold, not a currency, and you look at it as a cheaper way to transact and secure, that is real value.
Well, I agree. There is real value to Bitcoin. There is intrinsic value. I just think we all have to acknowledge that there's a reason a lot of people didn't buy in the bear market. They didn't think it would go up. Why is everyone chasing right now? They think it's going to go up. And as soon as we see some volatility to the downside, which, look, maybe it happens. Maybe we run all the way to 500K. Maybe we come back down to 70K. Who knows? But it's not like the asset class is somehow so special that a company like Robinhood should have it on their balance sheet. But they should make as much money as they can off people trading it.
But I don't think Robinhood should have gold on their balance sheet either.
I agree. I don't think they should either.
But some people think that more mature companies should as inflation hedges. But I personally just think that they should be continuing to acquire, and they're not the market leader here. I think that they need to acquire and become a market leader and expand on trying to build a moat. They don't need to defend their castle. They need to conquer land,
Yeah, I think the money being put into acquisitions makes more sense. I think the money buying back their stock makes a lot more sense. I think buying gold or Bitcoin is a super mature company move that can afford to lose that cash, and they just can't. They only have $6 billion, right?
Yeah.
So they got to invest it.
So we just had that whole argument to say that we all actually agree.
Oh yeah, we love Bitcoin.
No, we all love Bitcoin.
but it
but
was just
Robinhood should not
miswording.
hold.
He
Not
called
hold
it stupid, and I got
It
offended.
is stupid, dude. It's stupid. It's so dumb. The whole
I
concept
had
is
the
stupid.
same reaction, Tanner. I had the same reaction.
No, you guys believe it's stupid. You don't want to say it's stupid because you want to
No,
act as if
I
you.
do not believe it's stupid.
You absolutely believe, dude. If it went to $1 today, you would think it's stupid. It's at 100,000, so you're excited about it. Tell me I'm wrong. If Bitcoin went to $1 today,
I was excited about it at 9,000.
well,
I was excited about it at
put your own net
300.
worth? If why didn't you put your own net worth into it at 9,000? It's the best
didn't
returning
have
asset
that
of all
much net
time. It's
worth.
not stupid, right? So
It
why
is.
didn't you? If it's the best returning asset of all time, why don't you go all in right now? If it's not stupid,
I am pretty heavy in right now.
no, but if it's the best returning asset of all time and will be forever, you got to believe in that thesis. If you believe in Bitcoin, why isn't everything you have in Bitcoin?
you
Brother, you
also
can have-
understand
You can
that
have
there's a
high
cycle.
conviction, and you can have high conviction and still believe that there's a chance of failure. Like, I don't know. I've been very bullish on companies. There's some companies that I absolutely think are going to do 10x's, 20x's, and beyond. But I'm not going all in on them because there's a chance that doesn't pan out. So I do believe in Bitcoin, but there's also a chance that you have to account for some level of black swan event where the Fed comes out and says, hey, well, not the Fed, but they come out and say, hey, you know what? This is banned. They did this with gold. Like, hey, you're not allowed to use this in America anymore. We're going to defend the United States dollar. Stop using this. You can't put everything into it.
That's fair. But I think there's a level of you think there's a decent amount of stupidity to the concept, which is why you're not going full risk on into Bitcoin.
I also want to use some of my money next year and the year after that and the
That's
year after
fair.
that. And I'm not prepared to lock it all up again for another 4-year cycle.
Well, that's another thing about this thing. The reason I say it's stupid, and I'm saying it in a joking way, but the fact that there's a 4-year cycle where we know it's going to go up and then come all the way back down and then go up and then come all the way back down, maybe that changes over the next 4 years. But that to me adds to the whole stupidity of the concept. Now, everyone knows it's going to go up at this point, and then everyone knows it's going to come tumbling down for whatever reason that's baked into the cycle.
So if let's say it retraces and it stops at 80 and it never goes below 80. So, the 80 is the new bottom and Bitcoin never goes below 80,000 again.
Yeah.
Is it still stupid?
Well, where does it ever go up from 80 again?
I think
It doesn't just go to 80 flat line, like just the next bottom.
Well, it depends. because if it tops out at 80 forever, maybe it goes to 90 or 100 for the rest of eternity, then yeah, it's pretty stupid. I mean, it's a horrible.
But you also, no one would ever. It would be worth a lot more if people knew that it wouldn't fall below 80. I think the only way that you knew that it didn't fall below 80 is from hindsight. So the whole time, people are still holding with a level of fear.
Yeah,
it's got to climb. It's got to climb the wall of worry, which means that there's got to be people out there saying it's stupid.
Okay, let's end it on Vlad getting the Comeback of the Year award from Yahoo Finance, and then we'll talk about if we think Robinhood is the Comeback of the Year stock.
This could be a really different company 10 years from now. Like, what is your vision for Robinhood?
I think the vision really is for anyone, anywhere in the world, whether you're an individual retail investor or an institution, Robinhood should be the best place for you to custody all of your financial assets and process all of your financial transactions. And so it's expanding across the two dimensions I mentioned earlier, going global, where, you know, we've got lots of winds blowing. The rest of the world is getting wealthier. It's going to the technological frontier. Mobile penetration continues to go up. Internet is becoming ubiquitous. There's multiple trends that are moving towards more self-directed, more focus on US products and US markets, and AI and cryptocurrency sort of booming at the same time. And Robinhood can really be at the center of these things and is, and I think those are going to be the growth drivers in the financial industry over the next 10 years.
Doug, is Robinhood the Comeback of the Year story for 2024?
I'm fine with them getting that award, considering how hated they were, 3 or 4 years ago by retail, particularly. And now there's a lot of love in retail for Robinhood again. And I think that's because they've shown their customers that they want their business, and they've put out those 3% and 1% incentives to collect it. So they put their money where their mouth is, and they keep making new products. I think that the public has responded to that. It's hard to, like, who would be the alternatives? Like, if they're not the comeback, who else is nominated? Okay. Tesla? Are they? I mean,
It's not
they
the worst
were
idea.
down, but they crashed. They still came down. They still crashed this year and then turned it around. I mean, it's not like, who else had a giant turn? PayPal, maybe they're up 50%. Like, who else?
Coinbase. It's all brokerages.
Coinbase?
It's a bet. Like, the reason why I don't think it means much is, like, SoFi at 7, terrible company. SoFi at 16, revolutionary, future of finance. People are just talking based on their feelings
Stock
if they're
price.
making money in this market. If you're a brokerage, especially one that's exclusively a brokerage like them or Coinbase, you're winning because the market is excited. Okay. They are doing some other things to further their market share, but people wouldn't be saying this if the market was down and they were still growing their market share. People would still have negative things to say about Robinhood. They don't care.
Yeah, I think they're the Comeback of the Year. Just given how depressed the stock was, how bad the narrative was, the sentiment. If Robinhood went to 20, I don't know if they would be Comeback of the Year, but they got to 40 from $7. I mean, it's pretty incredible. I think SoFi is a candidate to be that comeback for 2025, given they were at 7 and really towards the end of 2024, they started running. Tesla fell in 2023 and was dead for 3 years. So that's definitely a candidate, but it's not the same concept as Hood.
Yeah, they were still making milestones, having, the #1 selling vehicle in America. And I mean, they were still, it's just their stock price. The company was still executing at a high level.
Yeah. I think they're the comeback winner of the year. I think their execution has been relentless. I think they're going to keep executing next year. Buying Bitstamp and expanding their crypto reach across the world is super important. They're going to bring over a couple billion in assets from that Bitstamp acquisition. I think they're the obvious point. That's gonna be
That's
huge.
gonna be huge. When that thing starts generating top line revenue, bro.
Yeah, I'm very excited. Did you see my screen?
Yeah.
Did you read this already?
So I think they do this every year, but I'm not sure exactly what this is.
Yeah, I wasn't clear about it either because usually they don't show the last month, but I didn't know what they meant by trading color. So are we just going to see some statistics on the month?
Anticipated date of December 2024 month-to-date trading color. Yeah, I have no idea what this means.
Yeah, month to date on December 31st. So
Gonna be green or red? Like, is that what they're gonna reveal?
I don't know. I guess we'll get some updates on how December is going, mate. But they don't do that ever for their.
that's what I mean
Did they have that for last year?
for last year, December.
Yeah.
I don't know about the last year, December, but they didn't have the other quarters. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, they didn't. No, if you go to November 2023, they didn't have. They only had the monthly metrics in December 2023. So I guess this is something new. Maybe we're gonna get some
Some insight, baby.
Some insights.
Is
Yeah.
your boy Chris Camillo in Robinhood?
Chris Camillo has a heavy position in Robinhood. Heavy position. He loaded up in the 20s. And you know, Chris Camillo was not a fan of Hood. Dave, who's all in the Dumb Money podcast as well, Dave Hansen got in, I think, at like $10 aggressively. And he was trying to get Chris on. And I remember those early episodes in 2024, Chris was just like not a fan of them. And then I think by like May, June, Chris was like, all right, this is happening.
Yeah.
So
I've been a super fan of them for years. So seeing that you had Dave on one of those quarters, it was a couple quarters ago to review Robinhood earnings was fun to watch.
Yeah. Shout out to PLTR for the $200 super chat. Didn't even leave a comment.
Currency.
Yeah. Yes, I got the right currency. Thank you, PLTR. You didn't even leave a comment, but I appreciate you. I wish you said something so I could give you a shout out.
He said a comment right underneath it.
He said same here.
Yeah.
You know, he just said emit, and then there's $200. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. I'm assuming he cares about Palantir, given the ticker is PLTR on his name. And he's probably made some money off Palantir this year. So thank you, brother. Appreciate it. If you leave a comment, we'll get to read something you say. But thank you for the 200. When I meet Doug and Tanner at the next event, I will definitely make sure that drinks are on me with this $200.
Yeah,
I think
hopefully I get invited to the next event. I feel like one of the guys who was like not picked at the kickball game. You know, it's just like everybody else got to go, and I'm like,
no, we'll try. I mean, they want people that are passionate about Hood, and so we'll see what we can do. Maybe we can get you at the next event. But I think it's exciting, dude. They're gonna have 3 events next year. The France one, I think, is gonna be really cool. Hopefully, the gold one's in New York, and or SF.
It sounded like it's not, dude.
Dude, I don't want to fly to SF, bro. I'm tired of fucking flying to California. It'll be nice. Yeah.
It would be nice. I'm pretty close to New York, so yeah.
I think I triggered a good amount of people in the chat around Bitcoin being stupid.
You sure did. I hope it gets clipped. Clip it and ship it.
Dude, sometimes you need to make an argument, right? Sometimes you need to just put something out there. And,
put it on r/Bitcoin. I don't even know if that's a real subreddit or not, but let the Bitcoin maxis have their way with them.
Oh, let them. Well, you know, I've listened to like at least 25 hours of Saylor this whole year, and I get his. I defend MicroStrategy on the Morning Open show a lot of times. Like I don't think Saylor's stupid at all. I think he's like there's a very specific like methodology he's going after. I just think more people than not are buying Bitcoin because they think it's going to go up. That's it. And I think people aren't honest with themselves when they say that. But then again, they're buying every asset because they think it's going to go up. So I guess that's a fair comeback.
Let's wrap it up.
Yeah.
All right. That's it. We're going to be talking for the next 40 minutes, Tanner. Every time I clap.
40-minute rant incoming.
40-minute rant.
Yep. Go ahead. I want to hear it.
No. We already did the Bitcoin rant. So we're good. I think that's we have one more episode of Hood Weekly this year. Do we? Next Monday, the 30th. Let's leave that tentative. I'll be free. Tanner, I'll see if you have any holiday things. If we're both free, we'll do it. If not, then this will be the last episode for the year. And
I'm here to do YouTube, man. Even if you want to squeeze it in on the Sunday or something like that to make sure that we have or Tuesday or something, let's just make sure we get it in.
okay, cool. So we'll have Hood Weekly next week. Doug, thank you for being on. This was
Anytime,
fun.
man.
Doug,
Always
this
have a
was
blast
great.
with
Thank
guys.
you.
Yeah,
Thank you,
congrats on the 2,000%. That's life-changing money. So
Yeah.
that's awesome for you. All right. Bye,
Appreciate
everyone. Have a great day.
Bye,
We'll
everybody.
see you tomorrow on the Market Open. Bye, everyone. Good night.
Bye, guys.